Good morning, guys. Good morning, Ashley. This is what we're going to talk about today. Good morning, Amelia. Is anyone here stressed? Hippie chick, I haven't seen you in a bit. Colleen, good morning, Amelia. You're going to love this scope. 5-minute technique to reduce anxiety. You're going to learn how to do it within the next 20 minutes. Isn't it cool? So for all of those that are filing in, if you look like this little character, I believe would be on your right of your screen with the hair pulled and the mouth open. You took me off notification, Amelia? Come on, girl. Come on. So if you look like the little guy on the left with the hair poking out and all stressed out, this is for you. We're going to, not me, my guest is going to teach you how to reduce anxiety with a technique called tapping. So if you know anyone in your life that could benefit from this, please share the scope. I want to get a big audience, guys. This is Christina.
Hello.
Say hi.
Hello, everyone.
So, guys, I'm going to ask for all of you guys that are here to share with your follower, and I know that you have people in your life that have anxiety, that have stress, and today we're going to teach them how to remove anxiety and stress from their life with a very, very, very simple technique called tapping. And that's why I have for the first time, thank you guys, thank you, so cool. I have somebody here for the first time on my scope. I have my first guest interview. She's my first.
Yay.
So this is Christina. And I'm going to first tell you who I am for those that are new. Hi, Lindy. What time is it in South Africa? Please let me know. So,
Thank you.
they're saying, welcome to Christina. That's amazing. 5:26 p.m. Perfect. You're going to be able to do that before you go to bed. So, for those that are new, my name is Stephanie Daudier. I am a clinical nutritionist, and I help people understand their body messages. Oh, you're in love with my assistant. You got a fan there. She's very pretty. I help people understand their body messages and heal with food. I have healed myself of many conditions, and one of them being anxiety and panic attacks. So this is very dear and close to my heart. And I know some of you on the scope and many people outside of the scope suffer from this, and there's such simple ways to reduce anxiety in your life. And that's why I brought my guest in today, Christina. I have known Christina for almost 2 years, I think, right? I did some fascial stretch therapy on Christina about 1.5 years ago, which was a blend of energy work and stretching the body. And since then, we stayed in contact, and we practice and part. She's going to introduce herself, but we practice nutrition, both of us. But she specializes in mental health, and she has this technique of tapping that I thought many of you on the scope today would be able to benefit. So that's going to be our scope today. So without any further ado, I'm going to ask Christina to take my pretty little mic, which, by the way, is hooked up with elastic band and tape, because I broke it this weekend. Thank you for sharing. I'm going to ask her to introduce herself.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming and listening today and joining us. And thank you, Stephanie, for having me. It's such an honor to be with the Stephanie Daudier. She has been a real inspiration for me, especially nutritionally. She's just such a breath of fresh air and such a wealth of knowledge. I watch her scopes regularly, so I learn a lot. But yeah, so thank you for kind of giving some background. I'm just going to give you a little bit of a background as well. I am a clinical social worker, so I did my kind of education first in the social work field, so did a lot of, in lessons in different therapies like cognitive behavioral therapy and whatnot, and then sort of realized that there was more to it than just sort of talk therapy. And that sort of led me into looking into nutrition from my own sort of experience as a teen who suffered a lot with severe anxiety. And then kind of through seeing sort of naturopaths and sort of going the more nutrition route, just learned from my own experience that food can really impact how you feel. And through that, when I went into my social work education, I kind of started to look more into other alternative therapies. And I got introduced to tapping really, really early on into my social work education from a really wonderful guest speaker who was really into Reiki and energy therapy. And then I kind of didn't really look into it until a little bit later on when I finished my nutrition program and was reintroduced to it there. And about a year later, a number of social workers, we're all on like a listserv, so we communicate through the listserv, mentioned tapping again and there being a training in Toronto. So I was like, okay, this is weird. Like I keep getting, messages, constant messages. So I'm like, you know what, I'm going to have to check this out. And lo and behold, there was a training in Toronto and I live in, the Toronto region. So it was perfect for me. And when I showed up there was about 9 other social workers. So I was like, wow, this is really, something coming into the know and being, recognized as something that's really effective, especially for anxiety. I'll kind of go into why that is and sort of what other things it's good for. But basically, it really has sort of transformed my practice in terms of not only myself. I use tapping every day because we all experience anxiety. There's a function to anxiety, and it's very much so our human nature. So it's about managing it and also working through some, evaluating how severe it is. And so for me, I found that it significantly reduced my anxiety. Really, it's quite effective and quick.
You're getting a lot of love, so.
Yay! Lots of hearts. I love the hearts. It's so cute. But hopefully I'll be able to answer some more questions about how I used it for myself, but also how I use it with clients. I work primarily with teens and children who are suffering from anything between like eating disorders, anxiety, depression. I work with teens who self-harm, and so I've used a lot of these modalities, including tapping, within my social work practice. So that's sort of where it kind of originated for me in my life, just from my own experiences of anxiety. And so if you have any questions,
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Thank you. So tapping, where does it originate and exactly what is tapping? Like what does it do to us?
Yeah. So tapping originated actually by Dr. Callahan, who was a psychologist, a psychiatrist back in the 80s, who realized that cognitive behavioral therapy, which I've also been trained in and I understand kind of where he was coming from, it's sort of a very lengthy process and it also isn't, one size fit all. And so he was realizing that there needed to be a little bit more to his practice than just sort of talk therapy. So he went out and traveled and kind of picked up from, oh, hello, hippie chick. He went out and traveled and really picked up a lot of Eastern sort of practices. So it's kind of this marriage of like the Western sort of talk therapy with Eastern practices. So it's basically essentially acupuncture on your emotions, which is what I kind of like to call it, because you're tapping on acupuncture points. You're tapping on the meridians to balance out the energy, not only body. It's nice because if you think of the triad, the body, mind, and spirit, right? That triad. Oh, yes, exactly. Can you see it there? Yeah. So there's a triad that we have, right? So our body, mind, and spirit, our thoughts, our emotions, and our body's sort of response to that. And tapping is amazing because what it does is it not only sort of calms your physical body, it realigns your energy, it shifts energy, but it also helps you to process things further. So when he discovered this, he brought this more to the Western society, and changed it up a little bit. It called it thought field therapy. And through that, he did a lot of trainings on this, and a lot of people found that phobias, trauma, they were able to release this completely from their life. One of his clients is famous. His name is Mary. It was his first client that he used tapping with, and he did sort of a whole different. It's evolved and changed, and I'll go into that. But he kind of did this whole exposure therapy. What would have taken cognitive behavioral therapy to sort of get people to work through a phobia, it would have taken them, months or weeks and weeks and weeks of therapy, took him about 2 sessions. So he was like, this is really, empowering. Hello, more joining. And so he had done a lot of trainings throughout the 80s, and in 1991, Gary Craig, who's really been the pioneer of this, you probably can just Google search his name and you'll see he's connected to a lot of EFT tapping communities. And he kind of simplified it in a more tangible, sort of universal way that was actually a quicker approach to it. And people were finding they were actually releasing a lot of things quicker. And so that's sort of the background in it. How it's kind of come into more of the Western society is that it's being used a lot for trauma. So for people who are coming from being veterans and being over in Afghanistan in the war, they were coming back with a lot of post-traumatic stress disorder, significant. And it just evolved that way. So a lot of EFT practitioners from Europe were coming in and volunteering and giving their time because they knew it was so effective for trauma, and it just started to kind of explode from there. It started to get really recognized, and different leaders, thought leaders like Nick Ortner and Jessica Ortner, who've kind of, opened it to more of a public kind of sphere. But it sort of has exploded since there, and now it's being recognized to be utilized for things like not only just trauma, but phobias, things like anxiety, depression. EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. Electronic framing. So EFT is Emotional Freedom Technique. There's a lot of other therapies that go by EFT. There's emotional focused therapy. So I sometimes. Oh, okay. Sorry, am I too close? Yeah. Thanks. So sometimes people find that they get confused, but yeah, Emotional Freedom Technique tapping. So basically, I'll kind of give you, because it can be used for so many things, especially even food cravings. Like, I've had clients come in where they will bring what they're craving, which is, maybe a chocolate. I know one client was a chocolate egg, those Easter eggs. She was like, I'm having this fixation on that. And then introduced her to the tapping, and we tap on this egg, and what happens is, it's like peeling the onion peeling the layers of an onion, all of this other stuff connected to why, the emotional connections as to why you're craving these foods come through. And it allows yourself to process and clear that. So that's where it's been pretty amazing as well. But to focus in really today on anxiety, because I think this is just widespread. A lot of us struggle with it. And I can say honestly that tapping has really eliminated that for me in my life in terms of severe anxiety, or even the every on our work, competing on our daily life in general. So how tapping kind of ties in with that. If you think about the brain, okay, we've got a organ in the brain called the amygdala. It kind of looks like this. It kind of sits in the brain, and it's about an almond size shape, so it's about this big, okay, and it sits in the brain, and that's sort of where, when we get anxious, all of our adrenaline and our cortisol starts pumping, all of the stress hormones, okay? So when we see something dangerous, the amygdala goes off, and that sort of indicates to the body and the mind that there's this perceived danger. Over top of that, we have what's called the prefrontal cortex. That's where we have that reasoning, that decision-making part of the brain that allows us to say, okay, although I'm feeling this anxiety, or although I'm scared, is anyone else having problems losing their connection?
I'm just going to go check something.
Okay. Does anyone need me to clarify what I just sort of was explaining? I can re-explain it if you need it. Anyone need me to do that for you? No? Okay. So we have this amygdala, right? So this is the almond size. We have the prefrontal cortex. Oh, you need me to kind of explain it? Okay. Oh, no, yes, I was disconnected as well. Okay. So I'll yeah, it's awesome. So I'll re-explain it. So we have this amygdala, which is a pea-sized, almond-sized part of our brain. And that's our fight or flight system. So if you've ever heard of fight, flight, freeze, it's when you have the adrenaline pumping, the cortisol pumping, all your stress hormones pumping when you're feeling very anxious or, stressed. And so that's when all the blood flow is going to this amygdala, okay? Over top of that, we've got the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is really the reasoning center part of our brain. It's the part of the brain that is able to think logically. So if you, for example, are waiting in line, you're at the bank, and you got to get to this next appointment, and you're just so angry, your fight or flight system's starting to get in gear. Your blood flow is starting to go to that amygdala, and all of a sudden, when the blood flow is going mainly to that amygdala, what goes out? That prefrontal cortex, I like to say, kind of like goes bye-bye, right? Like it kind of leaves. So your reasoning, your decision-making, so you start to get mad at people, start to be really irritable, and you're like, that's not really how I am, or you start to like say things that just, or feel certain things that just aren't in your regular everyday, and how you treat people or how you treat yourself. And so really what tapping does is it essentially brings that back in. So as you're tapping on points on your body, it sends a calming signal through the meridians, through those energy points of the body to the brain, and it sends a calming signal so that you could be standing in that line and doing some tapping, although sometimes in public, I've done it in public. Honestly, sometimes I just tap on one point, I just take a deep breath, and just let people think I'm a weirdo. Yeah, whatever helps you, right? Because it's tough when you have that cortisol pumping all the time. It's nice when you have something so easy to just diffuse that feeling. So oftentimes I do, use it throughout my day. Oh, awesome. You tap everywhere. Yay.
You get it down there.
Yay, that's awesome. I tap in the, on my way to work, not to say that it's good to do in the car, but, it's just a nice way to take the edge off and to process things, really. So it brings that in, it calms the brain so that even in a session, so say, for example, in a counseling session, you're able to really go there in terms of trauma, in terms of things that are really causing a lot of anxiety or depression in your life. You can kind of go there and explain it to you and not have it be such a re-traumatizing experience or really overly feeling that out of control feeling. Like you still feel very in control and you're able to process and release a lot more smoothly. So I guess...
Want to do it? Do you need me to hold the mic to do it?
Yeah, I think I'm just going to, kind of introduce it. I'll kind of give you an explanation of what, you might need to hold it for me. But I'm going to teach you how to do tapping for yourself, and then I'll give you sort of the lowdown about how to use it specifically for anxiety. So I'll teach you the basic, they call it the round, so how you tap through the round, and then I'll go into description afterwards. So, okay. So to begin with, we're going to use what they call the karate chop. So if you karate chop, it's right in here. This is the first sort of meridian point with alcohol drug dependency. Absolutely, it works with addictions. That's a huge thing that they're doing a lot more research on now. Especially, like I worked closely with someone who was a chronic smoker and found tapping to be massively effective for them. So it depends, sometimes there's a need for integrative approach when it comes to more serious addictions, but it absolutely can be utilized to clear that. So anyways, back to the tapping. So we've got what we call the setup. So this sort of sets up the round. It kind of balances your right brain to kind of get you in touch with what you're feeling at the moment. So you actually just tap. You could tap right here, and you can tap on either side, whatever works best for you, but you just start here. Can everyone see that? Anyone having an issue with seeing that at all?
Just send us a heart if you guys are seeing it and hearing it properly, because we're experiencing some connection issue earlier. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Perfect.
Yay, hearts. Okay, we're good. So you tap here. You take a deep breath in, and this is where you would set yourself up. So you would say a statement that includes, even though I'm feeling this blank feeling, or even though this blank thing has happened. So for example, you might say, even though I woke up this morning and I'm so anxious, okay, or even though this morning I woke up and I just don't want to go to work, I've had a really hard day. And then you marry that with a sort of a positive affirmation. You'd say, even though I feel this anxiety, I still deeply and completely love and accept myself. Which is can be hard to say. So for some people, like just to begin, to start out, I say, I'm willing to try to love and accept myself. Or I'm a really great person. Because what you're saying is, even though I have this negative anxiety feeling, I'm not going to beat myself up over it. It's normal. It happens, and I'm a great person regardless of feeling that feeling. So it's a very empowering statement, and it just kind of allows yourself to check in with, okay, I'm going to release this. I don't need to battle this anymore. I'm actually going to accept and release it. So that's sort of how you started off. Even though I'm feeling this anxiety, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Or even though I'm feeling really scared, I still love myself. And you would say that statement 3 times. Okay. On a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being you're on the beach, you're not anxious at all, you're just loving life, okay? 10 being you're through the roof, you want to flee or you want to freeze, you're in that fight or flight. If you're at a 10, you skip that setup. You don't need to go there because it's just you're too much in that space that you don't even need to go there. But if you're in more of a 6, 7 range, you want to set it up. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you all?
Send some heart if it makes sense to you guys. Yep.
Yeah, okay. So the next part I'm going to go into is what's called the round. So this is where you really release. So I'm just going to show you all the different points. So the first point is right here, and it's called the eyebrow point. So it's right in the inside the eyebrow. And you just tap, a couple times, enough times that you feel it. The next point is the side of the eye, right in the corner here. You tap like this. Next point is on that bone, just right under the eyes. This is the under the eye point. So a lot of these meridians are connected. I'm even feeling calm. I don't know how you guys are feeling. Can I get some hearts if you're feeling calmer already?
Just looking at you, I'm feeling calmer.
I'm like, oh, this is nice. But some of these meridian points are connected to different parts of the body because the meridians flow bilaterally, right? So sometimes, hello. Sometimes it connects to, like for example, right here, connects to your stomach chakra.
Digestive system.
Your digestive system, your stomach area. So it's a very calming area because that's all about self-esteem and self-confidence, self-love. So you really, when you're connected in there, you're touching on that point. So that's one area. So the next point is right under the nose. A little funny looking. Okay. The next point is right above the chin. It's funny seeing myself doing this because I teach this so much with my clients and I never get to see what I look like. So it's kind of interesting to see that. Okay, yeah, right there. And the next point is right here, about an inch below your collarbone. And you just want to tap like that.
Okay.
And deep breath in.
Always by the nose, right?
Yeah, and breathing. Ah, heart to you. Yeah, it's really great when you breathe, and breathing in, yes, so like Stephanie said, through your nose.
Just relaxing, and that calms down the nervous system.
Totally. So it's just that combination, and it's a bit of a tender point. So if you're not feeling that, you might have to find where it's a bit tender for you. And then the last point is right under the arm, where the bra line is. So for men, it's about, a couple inches below, and you just tap right there. And you take a deep breath in. And so you check in with yourself at this point. You think, okay, am I on a scale of 0 to 10 still at an 8, or am I now at a 6? Yeah, it really is. It is an awesome tool. It's so tangible and so empowering because you only need to go to a therapist a couple times to learn it, and then you can go home with it and you can do it yourself, and you're not, on your own. And it's great for kids and teens. It's amazing for them, even with sports and activities, the anxiety they get before sports. I have a client who just does a couple rounds like this. Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous about this test. And so that's what or this, whatever it is that you're nervous about. And that's sort of where this starts to come in, if you guys just want to keep tapping with me. And basically what you do at this point, same basics as acupuncture, is acupuncture on your emotions, absolutely. And what you're doing here is, at this point, you're just saying all your truths. I don't like to say your negatives, because I think that has a bit of a negative connotation, but it's your truths, right? Exactly how you're feeling. So you might be feeling like, I can't make it today. I don't want to go through this today. I don't want to have to get up and go to work. I'm so worried about what my boss is going to think. And you're just verbalizing it. Because as you're verbalizing it, you're feeling your body calm, you know. And
you're releasing it in a way.
You're totally releasing it from your body, because negative emotions gets trapped within the body.
And that's what creates disease.
And that's what creates disease. So if you tap, people who, there was a study that they did on people who were trying to lose weight and they couldn't because of adrenal fatigue. Mm-hmm. And they did 15 minutes of tapping a day, just on whatever came up for them. And they lost, on average, of 16 pounds more than the other control group that were put on a rigorous, like,
just the same diet without EFT.
Yeah, the exact same diet. So essentially, as you're going through here, you might find, as you go through it, that other stuff come through. Other stuff comes up, like peeling the layers of the onion. It's sort of, yeah, are you feeling it? You're feeling calmer? Sometimes people feel little tingles in their feet. I feel calmer already, you know. My little bit of an anxiety of talking in front of
being
people.
A periscope.
You know? Oh, my first periscope, right? I feel a bit better.
So, do you have any tips and tricks to make it more effective?
Yes, absolutely. So my biggest tip, because it was really hard for me to know what to say, I'll definitely give that to you guys at the end. My username is @GutInstinct.
I'm going to show that to you while you talk about it.
Okay. So essentially, if that's legible, it's Gut Instincts. And so basically, my biggest tip is that sometimes I have a hard time knowing what to say. If I'm feeling anxious, but I don't know why I'm feeling anxious, because that often happens to me where I'm just like, whoa, it'll be something in my body that'll trigger me. I'll feel this like gut-wrenching stomach ache or this feeling in my chest. And so I might even just start with, even though I have this gut-wrenching anxiety in my stomach, and I have no idea where this is coming from, I still love and accept myself. Even though I still feel like I have no idea why I'm anxious, I still love and accept myself anyways.
And for those that have like food craving,
Yeah.
even though I don't understand why I want to eat
Why
whatever,
I want to eat this chocolate bar, why am I
still
doing
love
this?
myself.
But I still love myself, right? And so, there you go.
I'm
And
trying
so,
not to cut you off.
part of that can be done so by writing. So I find if I write down, you know, a list of things that have come up for me in my day that are making me feel anxious, then I can tap on those things. So I write down, I don't know why I'm anxious. Maybe it's about work. Oh yeah, my boss did yell at me the other day and I really don't want to face him. And you know, you're welcome. Thank you for joining us. Really, it's awesome. And you might write this all down, then you might just start with that, and you might set it up, and then your round, right? Your round of tapping might be, oh my gosh, I don't want to face him. I don't want to talk to him. Yesterday he yelled at me. I really don't want to face that. And you know, whatever comes up for you. And you might find as you're doing that, other stuff comes through. Like, I'm actually really, you know, this anger that I was tapping on at first, I'm not really angry. I'm actually sad. You know, I'm really actually upset and hurt. And that you're clearing things as you're going through. You're clearing the layers. And that's where it gets really great, is the more specific you can get about how you're feeling and what it is that you're working through and what's making you feel the way you are, the more quickly you are able to release it. Doesn't matter if you do one hand versus two. So there's a lot of, thank you for bringing that up, and there's a lot of kind of controversy as to the meridians, but I would say simply, it doesn't matter. If you're sitting there and you're tapping like this, and you feel like, okay, something's not releasing, maybe go to the other side, and you might find that you just balanced out both sides of the meridians. But sometimes I just go like this. Sometimes when I'm at a 10 out of 10, right, on anxiety, I just solely tap my chest, and I go, so anxious. I'm so anxious. I'm so scared. I'm really nervous. So you can even just, yeah, you can even just do the one, or you can do two, or you, and sometimes our minds play tricks on us. So you'll be tapping and you won't be feeling, your brain will go, oh, you're fine, you're done, you know, you're okay. But then there's still that lingering feeling in your body. That's when you know you should continue to tap. So, and then as you're exploring that stomach feeling, where is that coming from? So a lot of it, I like to ensure that you kind of really look into your body, because your body is your messenger, right? It tells you, you know, what you're feeling. So how many are tapping? How many people are tapping something right now? Yeah.
Yeah. How many of you have been doing the round of tapping with Christina? That would be the big question there. And did it work? Yes, some people did. Let's tap some heart. Thank you, Lindy. So this was amazing.
Great.
And I know, I 100% know that it's going to help a ton of people here, because I know some of you, and I know where you are in your journey. It will help you. My whole practice and my whole philosophy is about listening to your body messages. And this is listening and pulling it out of your body before it becomes another 10 pounds, before it becomes another disease, another symptom.
Even though I'm discouraged with my weight loss.
Yeah, so if you're not happy with your result, that you're letting that go.
Yeah, letting that go, yeah.
Okay, so so we did share with everybody where we can find Christina. I'm going to put it up again. She is on Periscope at Gut Instinct, and that's her website at the top. So you'll be able to find her contact email on her website if you want to contact her personally or find her there. You're an amazing lady. Thank you very much for donating your time and coming to my office today to share this with people. I know you have made difference, and it will continue to make difference, because I will be posting this on my YouTube channel. It will be on catch.me as soon as we end up here. And then I will post it as well on my YouTube channel. I'm going to clean it up and put it on YouTube. And this is where, for those that are new to me, this is where you can find me. And this is my website. That's my name, www.stephaniedozie.com/community. That's my free online community that you can join. It's via Facebook. It's private. And I'm in there as much as I need to be, at least once a day, answering questions, posting tips and tricks. And it's totally free. It's to help you. And Scope is just another way of helping you. Check your Instagram and tweets. I will do that right after. Thank you, Hippie Chick. So yeah, so this is where you can find me. This is where you can find Christina. Can you help me put that there? I used sticky note and now they're stuck. So this is where you can find my friend, Christina. Hope you've enjoyed this format of Scope. This was my first one, and I think we did wonderful. Do you guys enjoy it? Any feedback? Do you like the interview model? Because I'm going to bring more people if you enjoy it. Oh, I just got one little... Okay, yes. Okay, good. Thank you. Please follow her. She's awesome.
Love you guys.
So I'm going to try to bring more people at least once a week to do different interviews and different things that can help you. And she's my first one. I always will remember you. Okay, guys. Any question before we leave for either myself or Christina? You will have new fans, I can tell. Now you're going to have to do Periscope.
I gotta do some tapping.
Now you're hooked. You're going to have to do something on Periscope every couple days. Any closing words for you?
Oh, thank you guys so much, and just know that you're not alone, right? It's rampant. It's an experience that we all work through. And
we had two questions. Can we do tapping wrong, and can we use essential oil with tapping?
You can never do tapping wrong. You can never say the wrong thing. Whatever is your truth is your truth, okay? And then when it comes to essential oils, I absolutely love essential oils. It just intensifies the experience and just helps it further along. So absolutely. Yeah, great. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. We will close the scope, and I will see you tomorrow at 11:30, and maybe even later today. I'm not sure. Oh, one question for my regular here. If I was to do a scope, yeah, you want to see more of her. She's going to have to scope now. If I was to do a scope on fermentation, like how to make sauerkraut, would this Sunday be a good time for you? Sunday, like, let's say 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Would that be a good time for you? Yes? Yes, please? Because I know it's Thanksgiving in Canada, so I'm trying to do it not at night because I know many people will have their Thanksgiving dinner. So I'm trying to do it in the morning around 11 a.m. and that should, in the Pacific time zone, be okay as well. Okay, so I think we're going to do it for that time. Okay, have a good day, guys, and see you later. Bye.